Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, when CNN tells you that grocery store shelves aren't going back to normal this year, you better listen, because they don't speak truth very often. However, I think that they're omitting a little bit of truth by saying this year. I think that grocery store shelves are not going back to normal this year, but the new normal that we see now in the grocery store shelves will continue. That will be our new normal. So what we've been used to in the past of abundance in the grocery stores, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to change. Be it manufactured or not, it's going to change. So you need to prepare now while you still can. And there are still things on the shelves, ladies and gentlemen, that you can be prepping with. If you hope grocery stores this fall and winter will look like they did in the before times, and listen to what they're saying in the before times. That's why I'm telling you, things are not going back to the way that they used to be. What can you do about it? You can prepare now, and you can become more self-reliant. With limitless options stretching out before you in the snack, drink, candy, and frozen food aisles, get ready for some disappointing news. Many of the country's biggest food makers are telling grocers that they will have limited quantities of a number of their products, including things like Rice Krispie Treats, Sour Patch Kids. Now, these are things, ladies and gentlemen, that to me are pretty trivial. But what I'm telling you is that things are not going back to normal for those things that we rely on. Are you a meat eater? Do you like to eat real food, not this junk food? But this is how it starts. Producers and manufacturers, they start cutting out the things that people really don't need. And then, once it gets worse, they start cutting out those things that we really do need, making it more of a crunch, supply crunch, and then those things going up in price exponentially. Some suppliers are also telling grocers to cancel their promotions of these items and moreover the holidays, so these items won't disappear from store shelves quickly. These latest limits mean that stores won't have all the things for all customers heading into the holidays, and shoppers may not be able to find some of their favorite products. As I've stated in the past, you're still going to be able to find that stuffing, but will it be stove-top stuffing? Or will it be a cheaper kind? But shoppers will still have plenty of options, including most of these companies' core products, which they are prioritizing over their products in less demand. Meaning, for instance, that if you're a fan of Ben & Jerry's popular fish food, you shouldn't have a problem. But the company's less well-known cold brew caramel latte might be harder to find. Major food and consumer product manufacturers being short on supply on some items will be a challenge in the grocery store industries. Suppliers are warning the company of potential shortages of foods, glass jars, and packaging containers. And they continue to say it's not your ideal situation. Some customers have been forgiving when they are unable to find what they're looking for, but others just want to know why they can't get their item. I can tell you right now why you can't get your items, ladies and gentlemen, if some of the things that you usually use on a regular basis have disappeared from the shelves, because they're not coming back. These things that are disappearing from the shelves, the more unpopular items, I guess you can say, they're not coming back because manufacturers are having to decide whether they can make a profit and or to pass on all of those cost increases onto their customers. So they're going to manufacture those foods that sell the best, and the more unpopular ones, they're not going to manufacture them or produce them anymore. Shortages at grocery stores are nowhere near as visible as they were at the beginning of this health crisis, when shoppers flocked to the stores to stockpile food and household staples. But supply in grocery store aisles has not fully recovered to pre-health crisis levels, and companies such as Costco, Sam's Club have recently reinstated purchase limits for customers on paper products and cleaning supplies, and we all know about that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is not part of the article, but get your coffee now, because we talked about it, I think it was back in March, April of this year, that coffee is going to be in short supply this year because Brazil and other countries that specialize in growing coffee, they got hit hard with a frost this last year, especially Brazil. And they came up about 1 million bags of coffee short for this year's supply. So if you're a coffee drinker, stock up on your coffee now before it goes up in price again. Around 18% of beverages, 15% of frozen foods, 16% of snacks, 15% of candy, and 18% of bakery items were all out of stock at stores during the week ending October 3rd, according to the latest data from IRI, which tracks in-stock levels at leading U.S. grocery chains. Before the health crisis, 7 to 10% of products were typically out of stock on shelves, according to IRI. So now we're looking at almost 100% more of the products that are out of stock than they were before, going from 7 to 10% to 15 to 18%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to get worse, okay? So stock up. Prep up. When the supply chain is tight, manufacturers often eliminate some of their fringe items to focus on ramping up production of top-selling products. Just what I said. Those products that are not very popular, ladies and gentlemen, you can expect them not to come back to the shelves. And here's what they want you to know is the new norm, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what this says. Some food brands are imposing rationing. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it is, rationing, for certain products on grocery stores and distributors, while other vendors are warning more generally of limited availability. Suppliers typically put products on allocation when there are supply shortfalls. The allocations have not been confined to one area of the country or a single type of retailer, which is why I always say that these things start off localized. So whereas, for example, let's say that we have Cheerios here very readily available in Alaska, it could be that in a certain state down in the lower 48, Cheerios may not be available. These things start out in a localized manner and then they spread out. Kellogg told that at least 4 grocery distributors last month in an email that Pringles Snack Stacks, Eggo Pancakes, and Morningstar Farms plant-based hot dogs and bacon will be on allocation, and Rice Krispie Treats snacks will remain below service expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, emergency, get your Rice Krispie Treats now. And they will remain below service expectations throughout the end of the year. The company also requested that stores cancel their promotions for Rice Krispies and Corn Pop cereal to allow for recovery. Kellogg said in the email that it was expecting constraints in capacity and packaging materials and labor pressure. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was before 1,400 Kellogg cereal factory workers went on strike. It just keeps piling up on itself. It just keeps piling up, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not hearing what is being put out, not just by myself, but do a little bit of your own research. If you're not listening to what is being put out and you're not preparing, you will suffer. You and your family will suffer in the future. And the CEO of a company called Box, ladies and gentlemen, says that this is the new norm. Allocations are the new norm. What are allocations? Rationing. So they are rationing the supermarkets, the big box stores. The big box stores will end up rationing it to us, ladies and gentlemen. So get what you need today. It's as simple as that. If you don't have the resources to get as much as you can to feed your family or sustain your family for 6 months to a year, then slow and steady wins the race. But don't do nothing. Don't just sit there and do nothing when you see the fire coming towards you. Make sure that you act. Having said that, I hope somebody got something out of this. I'll keep sounding the horn. I'll keep blowing on the trumpet, hoping that every time I put out a new video telling you that we need to prepare, and we need to prepare now, the sooner the better, that somebody new will hear this message and take action. But at the very minimum, do your own research. That way you can feel comfortable with the actions that you take in order to protect yourselves and your families going forward. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining in. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out. God bless.